3, 2, 1.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Thank you so much for listening. We are the Real Pineapple. This is Hunter here. I'm here with Scott. Scott, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm excited.
You know what I love, kind of being not even the outsider on this, but you guys love this you guys love Star Wars, and I'm here with Colin. Colin, how you doing, sir?
Oh my god, I love it! So excited. This is I haven't watched a trailer that's got me this pumped up, I think, in a while.
So we're obviously talking about let me just kind of throw this out there. I just had this rant in our Justice League final trailer review about DC and how, Marvel, they need to catch up to Marvel, and DC fans are super, so gung-ho about DC, they're blind and all that. But I gotta say, Disney are a bunch of assholes, because Justice League trailer dropped Monday morning, or Sunday morning, at 9 o'clock. And then just the next night, coincidentally, it's like, oh, hey, there's a new Star Wars trailer. DC does this a lot. Anytime DC puts something out, Disney just goes, okay, how can we just sabotage it by putting out a trailer for one of our own things? And if you go back, they've done it 3 or 4 times. So, yeah, when people go, Disney is a bunch of assholes, they're not wrong, because... Dude, Justice League comes out in 5 weeks, and Disney's already like, oh hey, are you looking forward to December? That's when Force Awakens comes out, or Last Jedi, comes out. It's a pretty dick move on Disney's part.
Pretty smart move. They're basically telling everybody, they're like, hey, just save your money on Justice League and just come see our movie a month later. You'll thank yourself.
Seriously, that is basically what they're saying. Are you ready to be disappointed next month? Don't worry, because Star Wars has you nice and cold up, ready, mid-December. But so
you thought you were watching some other movie on Christmas? No. You're watching Star Wars this Christmas.
Right. Yeah, fuck all that Oscar shit. Watch some fucking lightsabers. That's what they might as well be saying. But
yes, lightsabers.
So I will say, I'm probably going to be the most pessimistic. Actually, I will be the most pessimistic out of the
Boo.
Oh, hear me out, God. All right, Mr. Give Blade Runner 2049 not a fan-fucking-tastic, you piece of shit. But anyway,
I'm never going to hear the end of that. Ever.
You are not till the end of the year, son. But this is what I will say. Force Awakens was a really cool... It was a retread of episode 6 of New Hope, I believe.
Episode 4.
Yeah,
episode 4. But
episode 4. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
sorry.
Up to that one.
But I will say, this does have a very Empire Strikes Back feeling to it. Just even Kylo Ren handing what appears to be his hand out to oh God, is it?
Rey.
It's Rey, right?
Yeah. Rey.
To Rey, to Emperor Snoke, voiced and motion captured by Andy Serkis. Why the man doesn't have a fucking Oscar is beyond me. Anyways, but comparing him to Emperor Palpatine, is that right?
Yeah, the Emperor.
Yeah,
it's Palpatine.
So the story beats are a little familiar. I will be the first to admit, even with, Finn being captured, kind of like Han, and being taken back to the Last Order, like Han being captured and taken back to Jabba the Hutt. I will say, though, man, the thing that has me very intrigued is what's going to happen with Luke. I'm really curious what they're going to do with Luke, and that alone is going to get my money, because I really want to see what they do with fucking Mark Hamill. Hashtag always my Joker.
Yeah.
I want to see what they're gonna do with Luke Skywalker. That's just this.
Well, I think the idea that you bring up too, where it's kind of like it's mimicking itself, certainly did in The Force Awakens, and how it looks like this one, like her going to this island is very similar, obviously, to Luke, going to the Dagobah system and talking to Yoda and training with Yoda, and so I mean. It's definitely going to be like following that same path, but I have no problem with that. Like I feel like it's just like it kind of like gives me an excitement of like seeing something where I'm seeing how they're going to go about it. I don't necessarily have to guess like what they're doing, It's more of just like how they're going to do it. And it's kind of the same way that Star Trek was doing the same thing. Except, they were reversing roles where it was like, Captain Kirk was the one dying and it was Spock, on the other side of the window while he died. And, you're like, oh, man, that's so cool. That was Wrath of Khan. And, like, all this stuff's, like, kind of repeating itself. But, like, I like the way that, like, stuff like that works out and plays out and gets me excited to watch and see how they do their own spin on it,
Nerd.
Yeah, I feel like I love how seamless these are, and I also love how we're at a point in the actors' lives and also in the timeline of this movie to where they can use Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and like Harrison Ford, like to really be able to tie all this stuff together and not like they're thrown in just substitutes basically.
Yeah.
I love that that's where we're at in this whole timeline of Star Wars and then in like reality with the actors and how they're aging, like how that's all coming together. But I mean, I'm looking at this cast list right now, and you got like up and down John Boyega, Adam Driver, Benicio del Toro, Oscar Isaac, who I love, Andy Serkis. You've got Gwendolyn Christie, who was in Game of Thrones, who's a badass. Domhnall Gleeson, who is, I think, underrated. And then Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, I think she's killing it. I think she's such a badass.
And she's on Murder on the Orient Express coming up, which I'm really excited to see.
And then even rumored, Tom Hardy is rumored to be a stormtrooper. So
what?
Like, I mean, come on. Like, how can you? Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a voice. Like, come on. Who doesn't want to see at least this cast list play out? But I'm excited to get into this story. Bringing like Millennium Falcon is in this one. You've got like little droids, new creatures, hopefully nothing Jar Jar Binksy, but like let's tone that down a little bit. I just love the feel of this, and I just can't not be stoked for this. The action scenes look super cool. The space fighting and everybody in their respective spaceships and whatnot flying around. I think it just takes you back. I'm glad that they're doing a movie that's going to be more like Jedi oriented, and you get to see a little bit more of the Force, I'm hoping, which is kind of what it looks like it's leaning towards. One other thing real quick is I know that our biggest complaint from The Force Awakens was Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver, but I feel like it appears in this one that it's less juvenile and more like he's on like a vengeful mission and very like evil, which is what he should be. He should be very evil and menacing, and I'm hoping that's what it develops into, because that was probably my biggest gripe with the last one. Not Rogue One, but the one before. I feel like there's definitely could be improvements in his character, so I'm interested to see that aspect of it.
I think for like the main reason why I'm so pumped for it is exactly kind of what you were getting at, Scott, where you were just listing off the cast, but also just like the characters, like all these characters that were set up in the first one. I'm so excited to just see how their story progresses, and that's why the first movie did such a good job of character development, in my opinion. Like that was like the number one thing. That's what Disney does so well with Marvel and Star Wars. Like their characters that they're building up are just they're the reason to come back and see the progression of their character. Like Rey going and seeking out Luke Skywalker is like so interesting to me. They show in the trailer where it's John Boyega like straight up having a fight with like the lead stormtrooper, because like he was a stormtrooper, like he's
defector.
Yeah, and he's like figuring out his identity and all this, like he's like a clone, whatnot, like what does that mean, like who is he, like that whole storyline's super interesting to me, like the way all of this is going to play out. And by the way, porgs are great. They're like, they showed like the internet like died when like they saw the porg. If you look up porg on like Google image search, there's about 1 million memes of him like just put in the most hilarious situations. I love it. And Star Wars knew how much everyone was gonna love the porg that they even like on their official website starwars.com under the data bank, they now have a listing for porg. And it says, he is a small, flat-muzzled avian that flocks about the rocks and roosts in the cliffs of Skywalker's secluded island. Porgs are inquisitive creatures. So
I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's a little encyclopedia for it.
Yeah, so there's just gonna be little porgs like all over Skywalker's island, and I'm like, I'm down.
All those storylines you mentioned got me so like excited.
Yeah, and even Poe, dude, the badass like fighter pilot. Like, let's see what's going on with him. Like,
so I gotta say, as much like, so I couldn't justify spending like $150 on that BB-8, that remote BB-8 that came out last year.
I totally would.
I'll be straight up. I will own a shirt and a plush of a porg within before my next birthday. like as soon as I saw, and the thing is that kind of pissing me off because I know what Disney's doing. They're trying to sell merchandise, but I see it. I'm like, oh, you're adorable.
Do you know what's crazy?
Porg Snuggie. That's what
you know what's crazy is I walked into a PetSmart today. I walked into a PetSmart to grab some stuff for my dog. And they're straight up selling porg dog chew toys. Like, so, yeah, so of course I got one. They had a BB-8 one too. It was like, the BB-8 one was more expensive, like, to Hunter's point. You can get porg on the cheap. So, like, they got the little porg with the squeaker. Like, Buster destroyed it in, like, maybe 2 seconds. But, I mean, dude, they're going to capitalize on this so much. Like, man, the rich getting richer right here. Disney, just the all-powerful Disney.
Dude,
it looks so pretty.
Little porg.
So I'm gonna make a point that is probably gonna upset some people, but this is what I'm gonna say. I've been rewatching the Harry Potter movies, and I think that in some respects, Harry Potter has passed Star Wars by. Now, with that said, I'm very curious.
In what respect passed it by? What do you mean by that?
I mean that because, look, Star Wars had 3 fantastic movies and then 2.5 movies that I think were just very unpleasant, I will say. I think that Harry Potter, as far as a mythos and anthology, is something that just people all around the world love. I think it's been more consistent.
Well, yeah, the mythos is based off of books. Like, Star Wars is its own thing. It's like apples and oranges.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think Harry Potter is this generation's Star Wars, so I think Star Wars wants to get back to where it was. So I think this movie is very important, because I thought Rogue One, it's my second favorite Star Wars movie, and honestly, in 5 years, it could be my first favorite. Of course, Empire being the best one so far. I think Rogue One is a damn near perfect movie. And I remember just leaving. I actually saw it 3 times in theaters. I don't think I ever mentioned that 2 times, but I saw it 3 times. I love Rogue One, and I've watched it at least 3 times since it's been on Netflix. I just think that's to quote Colin, a perfect movie, if you will. I love Rogue One, so I'm very curious what they're gonna do with this. Again, I think the big mystery surrounding Luke, that alone is holding my interest. So I'm curious what they're going to do with Luke. Just because we haven't seen Mark Hamill act in anything since, Kingsman? The first one, I think, was the last thing I remember him acting in. Like, as far as him and not his voice. um, and I gotta be honest with you guys, too. It's such a bummer that this is Carrie Fisher's last movie. Like, it just made me really depressed. Honestly, when I saw her, I went, shit, that's right, no more Princess Leia. I just got really bummed out. So, if Kylo Ren ends up killing her, that's gonna really kind of depress me, to be honest. So,
yeah, that looks like what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he could do it, and I don't know, man. There's a lot of emotion for me hitting this. A lot of it is because of Carrie Fisher, and a lot of it is because, Mark Hamill has always, Luke Skywalker's always been that good guy. You know what I mean? And so, if he goes to the dark side, yeah, that would be, to paraphrase Colin again, not super chill. I would be kind of depressed if Luke ends up on the dark side. But, everything about this movie, as you said, Scott, Oscar Isaac, I love him. Not when he's playing Apocalypse, but I love Oscar Isaac as an actor, and seeing hopefully him and Finn's bromance continue to grow, which I thought was great in The Force Awakens. I really enjoyed that. I'm happy to see John Boyega. We never reviewed Detroit, which we just fell behind on it, but I would give Detroit a solid A. I love John Boyega, and seeing him going round 2 against Captain Plasma, I'm fucking stoked for that fight. That shit looks awesome. There's so much here that I'm excited for, so I'm trying hard to get, I guess, too excited, because I think this might let me down a little more, because I won't have that nostalgia feeling like I did for Force Awakens. But to say that I'm not excited for this, I may not be excited as you two. I don't think I'm there, but I'm stoked as shit for this movie. I think this is going to be, at the very least, a great popcorn movie with a great script, is what I'll say. Colin, kind of throwing it back to you.
Yeah, I think you're crazy. I think this is going to be, like, the most fantastic sequel. So, like, I'm basically just letting my guard down. I'm being super excited. The trailer looks amazing. As far as just watching the trailer and, like, getting a good feeling from it and not, like, overanalyzing it and, like digging into it too much, like, it's just a great trailer. It really just, like, makes you get super pumped, and, like, it shows a lot of, like, the things they're going to touch on and doesn't give you any clear, concise answer, like, what's going to happen. But it gets you, like, really... It starts asking you all these questions, like, where are you going to go? And it makes you just kind of, like, remember the first film, and make you just, like, remember how you felt when you were connecting with all these characters. Like, I love Rey and Finn and Poe, and I'm ready to see how this shit is going to go. So, like, I'm all in on this. I'm 100% all in. Scott, what are you at?
Yeah, totally. Like, as someone who's a big fan, naturally I feel like you want to get super excited for it and, like, let it kind of, like, run wild. But I feel like just taking this, like you're saying, this trailer for face value, and just what it is, I think it's an excellent trailer, and it would get anybody excited to see this movie, whether you had ties to it or not. We've kind of been writing this a little bit, but those storylines are what I am really interested in, like Rey and, like you mentioned, Poe and Finn. Like, there were sort of unanswered questions there, and I'm just super excited to see not only those actors fulfill those roles, but the storyline kind of unfold, and especially, like, the light. I can't. I love the lights, bringing back the lightsabers, and that I love from the original series the Yoda and Luke interaction and the way that he is able to find the Force. I'm just really excited to see Rey go through a similar transformation, and I'm just like, it's so cool looking. It's, like, so emotion packed, and the cast list is insane. So I don't know how I can not be excited for this. I'm with you, Colin. Let my guard down. Like, let's do it.
Let's effing go. let's
go.
get this Star Wars on in December. I'm pumped.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is gonna sound like such a dick thing to say, but I don't care. Even in the Jedi robes or whatever, Daisy really still has an ass on her, and that will keep me watching these movies because that.
Well, I mean, like, listen, this chick has only really been in voice acting roles for the majority of her career, which is crazy to me. Like, she's a great actress.
Yeah, she's stunning. Like, it's crazy that like someone like that good looking would become a voice actor. They're like, no, you can just act. Like, we can film you too. You're not ugly. You're quite stunning, in fact.
And she's really talented, actually. I was like, when she was playing Rey, I went, God, I actually watched Force Awakens like a month ago. I went, damn, good for you. I was like, you're really selling this shit.
Yeah.
So,
and she has so much chemistry with John Boyega. Like, those two together on screen just like fucking works. Like, that's some of the best part of this is the casting. Totally, just them playing off each other is super good.
Do you think they fucked?
I hope so. That'd be chill.
Like,
just for John Boyega's sake, so. Like, good on him.
Like, I think they have. Like, it reminds me of how like Gwen Stefani.
I think they have.
I do, because it reminds me of when Gwen Stefani would talk to Pharrell on The Voice. I'd be like, you guys have fucked before. Like, there's no way that didn't happen at least.
I feel like all actors just have sex with each other all the time. Like, I feel like that's why no marriages ever last in Hollywood, is because like the next time a big like Leo, that dude, he knows what he's doing. He's like, why am I gonna get married? I'm just gonna like have sex with all my co-stars for like the end of time.
So are you saying that's why Chris Pratt and Anna Faris broke up?
Oh yeah, that had nothing to do with Passengers with Jennifer Lawrence at all.
It's like oh, look at all these beautiful people that I work with all the time. I'm darn.
Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence 100% fucked.
Yeah, and by the way, Passengers is not a good movie. By the way, I give Passengers. By the way, I know it's random, but
that movie's terrible, but they 100% fucked.
I would give it a solid D-. I really didn't like Passengers at all, but
so that concludes the review of Passengers this week on Real Pineapple.
You know, why not? Let's review Passengers, but God, I'm curious to hear people's thoughts on this trailer, because it's interesting. Monday Night Football numbers weren't up, even though they announced they were going to do this trailer, but I watched it because my fantasy defense was involved. So
oh my God, no one cares.
Like, Star Wars. yeah, I had the Vikings D, so you know what are you gonna do? But guys, I'm curious what fan theories are on this, because I've read some fan theories where I go, like if they do that would be pretty ballsy. But guys, let us know what you thought about the. They said this is the last trailer. That's what they said. So what we're.
I'm gonna watch this about 5 more times tonight, I think.
Yeah, me too. I think.
Oh, dude. So I have YouTube Red. I may or may not have downloaded this trailer, and by may not, I mean I definitely did.
Nice.
But yeah, dude, fucking love this trailer. But guys, let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can follow us here on SoundCloud, Podbean, iTunes, and Google Music at The Real Pineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at
Newman the First.
You can follow Colin on Twitter at
The Real O'Neill.
You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can go ahead and check out our sponsor for the month, Fangirl Cuddles. You can find them on Etsy.com/FangirlCuddles, and you can find them on Facebook.com/FangirlCuddles. Go ahead and use the code REALPineapple, REEL Pineapple, all caps. You get $5 off your order. You are welcome. We're gonna have reviews up this weekend for. The first couple episodes of Inhumans. We'll have a review up for the new Jackie Chan movie, The Foreigner, which I really hope is good. And I'll have a solo review up for The Tick Season 1, Part 1 for Amazon, which I'm really stoked to actually go through and rewatch that and review it. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Meow.